And
You're absolutely fine.
who's your biggest customer at Just Cartridges then? So let's go back to the start, Charlie. Before Just Cartridges, and people that might not have heard of Just Cartridges, that have been living under a rock.
Choice.
So I suppose you've got a good spin on who's the market leader and what the most popular cartridge is on the market, because you selling all of them. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tweedle podcast. Myself and Rob Fennick.
Hi, everyone.
Back at EJ Churchills, and we are joined by the cartridge extraordinaire, the one that's taken over the cartridge world online.
Mr. Cartridge.
Mr. Cartridge, yes. Just Cartridges, Charlie Bull.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
You're welcome.
How are
Pleasure
you?
to be here. I'm very well, actually. Very well.
Good, you look well.
He looks
Thank
well. It's
you.
a very smart shirt.
I've just spent an hour and a half in hair and makeup, but the girl said she couldn't find enough makeup to make me look his age. So
Let alone my age.
apart from that, I wouldn't even go there.
You keeping well then, mate?
Yes.
I'm
very well.
amazed we've managed to get you. It's the start of the season, be it the grouse and there are no grouse, but this must be an absolutely manic time for you, isn't it?
It's just kicking off now. So unfortunately, no grouse this year. So that aspect of it is
No.
a little short. But the game stuff's starting to trickle out.
Is it?
We'll have a decent year this year, I think. Yeah.
Is the game market clays and game? I mean, obviously you supply cartridges to everybody all over the country, and every single cartridge, and whatever you need, basically you can supply. What percentage is game and what percentage is clays?
For us, it'll be 60%, 70% game, and the rest clays.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
And also, it's a bigger ticket item, I suppose.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the start, Charlie. Before Just Cartridges, and people that might not have heard of Just Cartridges, that have been living under a rock. How did it all come about? How did you get into the trade? And
Completely by accident. So I used to be in construction, but obviously I've been a shooting man all my life. And if you remember in the old days, every single little market town had a gun shop, didn't it?
Yeah.
Every single little market town. So the last one remaining in sort of Oxfordshire was in Abingdon, which was Dunmore Shooting Centre. You probably
Yeah, I
remember that.
it. Yeah.
And that closed in 1998. And my mates and I sort of said, well, where are we going to get our cartridges from? And one chap said, oh, I know this place in Lincolnshire. You probably know that as well. I said, I'm not driving all the way to bloody Lincolnshire.
Yeah, from Oxford.
And I rang up Express and said, will you give us an account? Can you send us a pallet of cartridges? And I spoke to Brian Jackson. Brian Jackson actually answered the phone. Lovely chap. And he said, yeah, no problem. So he sent us a pallet of cartridges, and I just started selling them to my mates. Nobody else would give us an account. None of the other manufacturers would give us an account at that time. But I also had another friend who was in the IT business, and he said, oh, you need a website. I said, oh, what the fuck's a website? So he said, well, I'll come round for dinner one night. I'll build you one. So we went round for dinner, and sure
this
enough...
is still late 90s, sorry.
This is 1999.
Wow.
And he built us a website, and basically it's grown from there. Yeah, grown from there.
Just crazy, and I feel like more in the last 5 to 10 years, it's properly taken off. Has it always been a full-time business than it is today? Or?
So I changed it into a full-time business in 2006.
Right.
And it's sort of grown organically from there, really.
Yeah.
And at the time, really funny, Game Ball wouldn't give us an account. And in fact, I used to go down to Litz in Newport. Andrew Litt would charge me an extra £1,000. He was only making £1 each house, and I'd sort of buy them from him.
In fairness, that's probably why I went bankrupt.
You
caused him to go
I did say
bust,
at
you
the time.
did, Charlie.
I did say at the time. So anyway, then we got an account with Game Ball finally, and now we sell more than twice as much of their stuff as anybody else.
Good God.
Wow.
So we're their largest
Yes,
customer
you are. No,
financially.
you are, yeah.
So.
Well, we're their largest independent sort of place after that. So
we're independent, aren't we?
Well, no, as in you sell other brands as well.
Oh,
Do you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think, I know, you're just massive, and that's just how important it is.
We sell a few.
How many cartridges?
No, he's never going to tell us, is
are we
he?
talking?
Yeah, I don't mind telling you.
Go on then.
How many do you sell?
Nowhere near what you sell.
We
Well, we only sell Game Ball, so we sell.
Right.
Yeah, so we sell about
We
three
do
and a half
about
million.
26 million a year.
26 million
26 million a year
in total.
in total.
Wow, it's huge, isn't it?
And sort of, as I say, 70% of that would be game stuff.
Yeah. And where's your sort of USP, do you think? The fact that your delivery, people can get them easy, you just ring up, order, it's that taking the hassle factor out, isn't it?
Exactly right. So it's all about the service.
I bet it is.
It's
Yeah,
that,
all about the
that
service.
what you were talking about then about in the 1998s when your local gun shop, that still happens now at home, because you'll get an invite shooting on Thursday, on Monday, and you're like, shit, at some point in my week I need to go to the gun dealer,
Yeah.
but actually
No, you don't.
you spend
Just ring
5
us up.
minutes on
Or you
Just
order
Cartridges,
online.
or you buy a £10 ticket on Tweedle and you
Yeah.
can win off me through him.
Yeah. And then you get them anyway.
Exactly. But no, it's a brilliant idea, and a bit similar to Tweedle, and probably Guns on Pegs as well are under the same bracket, because shooting was never online,
No.
No.
and as an e-commerce business to supply cartridges, it's
But it's been hard.
fantastic.
But it's been hard, hasn't it, Charlie? I mean, in terms of just the legislation, I suppose.
The
and all that. That's
legislation-
your biggest. I'd imagine that's your
The
biggest barrier.
legislation and the transport are
Yeah.
the hardest parts of it, yeah.
And that's
But-
only going to be getting harder, is it? Or
You tell me. It's not going to get any easier, is
well,
it?
that's my point. It's certainly not.
Not going to get any easier, no. But going back to the online thing, you've got to look at your clientele. When you look at your customers here, you're looking at sort of 60-year-old white men. And that is, we
No,
need
that's
to be
only
encouraging.
99% of them.
You need to be encouraging sort of the younger generation through.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
technology is definitely the way to go. We have always tried to stay one step ahead with the technology in
Yeah.
terms of the website and how it works. I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much everything for us now is computerized,
Yeah.
apart from the physical picking of the product.
and I mean Josh is pretty good at the marketing stuff. I
He's
have to
very
say.
good.
He's very good.
But all the transport is now computerized.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of your own transport now, don't you, Charlie? Is
We
that
do a
right?
lot of our own transport, and that's partly to do with the legislation. So I'm a world expert on the ADR regulations, which is basically the European road transport regulations, and they're perfectly legal to send with any courier, unlike aerosols, lithium batteries, alcohol, which all the couriers are happy to take. They won't take our stuff. And it's just, they don't like the look of it. It's not that they're not allowed to take it. So, yes, we do a lot of our own transport now. We basically do from Oxford, we've got another depot in Tamworth.
Yeah.
So we'll stretch up to sort of Sheffield, across to sort of Bedford, Milton Keynes, west to Bristol, south to Brighton, Bournemouth. Do all of London. London's a big market for
Does
us.
it all come out of Oxfordshire, your depot, or do you have then?
So we've got another depot in Tamworth. So
Yeah.
that deals with sort of the North Midlands and the North. We are just using another depot in Romford, which deals with sort of the far southeast, Kent, and sort of Suffolk, Norfolk, Lincolnshire, that area. And we're looking at opening more depots so that we can deliver our own stuff.
Yeah, that's sort of
the
the
key.
future plan, is it?
And also, you get better service like that. Our tracking system is absolutely superb. People can see in live,
Where their cartridges are.
cartridges are and
Yeah.
when they're going to
Yeah.
come. Yeah.
And I imagine in London, like you just said, there's nowhere in London you can buy cartridges from, is there? I would
Yeah,
have
there
thought.
is.
There is, yeah. There's a few
Is there?
places you can.
Purdy's,
But
Hollands, William
yeah,
Evans.
there's-
Of course,
there's-
yeah.
Well, there's loads of places like that. The problem is,
But-
though, think of what you're trying to buy. It's heavy. You can't just wander into
Get
the
the tube.
You can't park, so you can't park anywhere.
No.
Or drive in. You haven't got
No.
your car. It's going to get them, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Charlie's answered the prayers to so
Yeah.
many people because
Yeah.
they're like, I just need the cartridges,
Getting on the
and I
tube
don't want to
with
have
two
to
slabs of
exactly
Game
that
Boy
and
on,
carry
yeah.
the blooming things. It's
Yeah.
impossible, And of course, you look at what a lot of them do. They don't need 2 slabs. They need 1,000 cartridges or whatever it is. You
Yeah.
just can't. So then you've got to be able to just park up and load them up.
There
which
you
is
are.
where he's
Surprises
set
me that the difference between clay and game is so vast. I'd have thought it'd be more clay.
So the difference for us is basically the delivery charge. Bearing in mind we make a loss on every single delivery we do because it's so expensive. Because they're heavy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the cost of delivering them is phenomenal. And the clay shooters tend to not want to pay for that delivery service, whereas the game shooters, they're after the service.
But
I
and
think
also-
as well, when you come to a clubhouse to shoot clays, you can buy cartridges.
Exactly that. Whereas when you're going game
Indeed.
shooting,
You're not.
you're not going
Yeah.
to.
There's
So
no
whether you
little
come
shop there.
whether you're coming
Yeah.
here or West London, no matter where you're going, you know, if I haven't got cartridges, I'll get some there.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
the point is when you're going game shooting, yes, most big game shoots that we know of now have cartridges, but realistically, a lot don't.
And they're not the
it's
ones you want to
and it's
shoot.
not the ones you want to shoot.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
so this way, you can just take whatever you can, can't you?
Yeah. Choice.
So I suppose you've got a good spin on who's the market leader and what the most popular cartridge is on the market because you selling all of them. Are you going to
Gonna get in
upset? Are you going to
trouble
upset
here.
a few
Just say,
suppliers here? Or?
You've stitched him up.
don't-
The
I
poor, he's
don't
just
think
come for a
so.
nice coffee and a fag with us and to catch up, and you're
No,
like, go on,
Charlie's not
Charlie.
bothered.
Go on, Charlie.
I don't think so. I mean, Game Boy are easily the market leader for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the English, other English manufacturers still very strong. Hull, Ely, Express, not so now. But we'll see how that sort of runs out with Fiocchi and that kind of
Ely
thing.
is
B&P
certainly
now?
a little bit, but Ely have certainly. I mean, they were when we were younger. I mean,
Everybody used Ely.
everybody shot Ely, didn't
Yeah,
they? I mean,
yeah.
it is. You're a lot younger than us, but the point is,
Everyone seemed to have Express with my dad and
yeah,
his mates.
I used to shoot a lot of Express
So
years
did I.
ago.
So
And
did I.
so
Late
Ely
80s,
Express were
90s.
big, and Game Boy were
Victories.
not nothing. That's unfair, but they were nowhere near anywhere like they are now, were they?
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
nothing. Everyone shot Ely, but Ely then lost its way a little bit, and Game Boy have obviously become the phenomenal business that it is and brand that it is. But Ely seem to be coming back a little bit, don't they?
They
now?
are definitely coming back a bit, and let's not forget that when the whole sort of lead-free thing started, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
Ely were a year ahead of everybody else,
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And they got the product right, and it's working well.
Is that with that wad? That
Yeah,
yeah.
the
That's an
Pro
old.
Eco
That's the old Armusa. I want to say Armusa. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember our Musa.
You would know better
it's
than I.
similar, but
Right.
not the same.
Because they
But
bought them, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
And Game Boy have got a very similar
Yeah.
wad as well.
Yeah.
But the others, the sort of composting wads.
The Hydro one from Hull, is it?
Yes, so the Hydro wad from Hull and the Green Core from Fiocchi, they're going to need some more.
Yeah.
They're going to need some more research because
Some
they're
of
not
the-
going away quick enough.
But it's a great wad, isn't it? I
Great
mean,
to shoot,
there's nothing to
fantastic
shoot it.
shoot,
It's like shooting
absolutely.
a plastic wad. But the problem is, it's compostable, if I'm right. And the
Yeah.
point is, like a leaf on the ground, it doesn't disappear with water. It'll still be there in 8,
Indeed,
9, 10
indeed.
years,
Yeah.
like compostable.
Whereas
but
the Ely wad, the Game Boy wad, they're gone in days.
yeah.
Yeah,
Although
they
they
are,
do, when you see them, all that bloody white slime
Like
all
white
over the
Yeah,
place.
slugs,
but that
aren't
goes as well.
It does go.
and
does
it goes
go.
quicker than the other, and it goes quicker
Oh,
than the
by a mile.
compostable wad. So
Do
you
you get involved with this whole argument though, with regards to them breaking down in the cartridge and things like that? Because there's been a lot of talk about that, hasn't there? And that with the sort of water soluble ones.
There has. So initially during development, there were some issues with it,
Yeah.
but Game Boy in particular spent a long time. They were, they had a special area where they sort of got those wads
Yeah.
ready. And now, I mean, we haven't. The biggest problem is people storing them too warm.
Yes.
Not too
and making
cold.
them brittle. Yeah.
And
We
making
have
them
that
brittle.
wad in our Hellfire.
Yeah,
And we love it.
exactly.
It is phenomenal to shoot with.
So is that a myth then? People putting cartridges on the radiator the night before a day shooting?
No, you must be. I know people who do it.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But is it a myth that helps?
It's not a myth, but I wouldn't do it, especially with the new generation of wads.
People, they,
Because it's
No,
not
they
does
say
it?
It doesn't.
underfloor
Have you ever
heating.
noticed the difference? We've all tried it. Let's be serious.
No.
I've never
You
noticed
see
the
it. You
difference.
see it like people shooting in Wales, and the first thing you do when they get in the
Stick
hotel
it on the
room is
radiator.
Stick it on the radiator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I don't
Don't-
think.
Can't be
Don't do
bothered
it.
bringing my cartridge in from the
Well,
car.
it's
Exactly. So I leave mine in the back of the car,
Yeah,
and
I'm the
it's a
same.
frosty night or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
No.
No.
But you're absolutely right. They're now these wads. It's when they dry out, isn't it?
Yeah.
They get too dry,
dry.
and they get too brittle, and it can happen from if you live in a warm house with underfloor heating and things
Yeah.
like that, and you leave
Yeah.
them on the floor.
Yeah.
It can happen with things like that.
Leave them in the garage or the boot of your car. That's
Yeah.
the best thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you got your storage unit temperature controlled or?
All temperature controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just keep it a nice
And
even. A bit like a wine cellar, 53 degrees.
There we are. That's where he keeps his wine
It's
as
not
well. You
warm.
see, so it's yeah.
You like your wine as well, actually, don't you?
Oh,
Tom?
like a drop
Well, he's
of
got
wine.
it's a wine cellar with a few cartridges in it.
Bloody big wine cellar.
And where do you see Dare We Go Steel? Dare We Go Non-Toxic? I mean, it's obviously going to come, isn't it? How do you?
Definitely going to come.
Because for you, sat with millions of stock, that's going to be. Is that going to be a nightmare? I mean, it's going to be a nightmare for you, isn't it? Because you've got to phase it out and bring in non-toxic shot in time when it happens?
I don't think it's going to be a problem. There will be a withdrawal period. So bearing in mind the amount we keep in stock, it does turn over extremely quickly.
Right.
So when you're flogging 1 million cartridges a week during the game season, you're turning that stock over exceptionally quickly. But also there will be a withdrawal period. It's a bit different now because the government's changed. So under the Conservative government, HSE, the consultation period has been extended again.
Yeah.
They were talking about a 5-year withdrawal period. So, we're not going to get it for at least 5 years, in my view. But it will come. It will come. You're going to stop shooting? I'm not. I love my shooting.
Yeah.
You hear all about these people saying, "Oh no, I can't use lead. I'm going to give up shooting." It's just a load of rubbish. I'm still going to go.
Of course, mate. Yeah.
You use what you can.
Shoot rice. Still go.
People are still using paint without any lead.
And it's like
Petrol
same,
without
and it's
any
same
lead.
with the clay shooting side. People are going, "Oh, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that." Do you know what I mean? I won't do it. You go to in America when the World Championships on, you shoot 32 grams.
Yeah.
But we're allowed to shoot 28 here. When they come over here, they just shoot 28 grams. If you go over there, you can shoot 28 grams or you can shoot 32 grams. It's all, things do change, don't they?
They do.
With Olympic trap, 24 grams. It's all, things have changed over the period of time.
But you look at the lighter load. So Hull were the first people to introduce a 21-gram load, which was basically a cost thing with the increase in, the raw materials back whenever it was, 2007, 8, something like that. You can still kill those extreme clays with those 21 grams.
Unbelievable.
You know that.
Oh,
I know that.
you go on sim days. That's the best thing, and you take these 21 gram loads.
Yeah.
We've got those Game Boy little 21 gram loads that we have, which are we call it our Prodigy, which are our trainer loads, which we use a shared load of because we use them for every single new person and corporate days and everything else.
They do the job.
Oh my God, you want to see some of the birds you edge on a sim day when they're pinging over like 70, 80 yards and you can shoot with it. It is unbelievable
We
what
were
you can
decoying
kill.
pigeons last week and we didn't have any shells and it was like a late call and all I had was 21 gram 7.
Yeah.
And hey, they make a mess of pigeons. No problem.
I remember people shooting partridge. You remember the
Yeah,
old days?
yeah,
People used to shoot with some clay loads, fiber wad clay loads.
Absolutely.
Like, funny
I
enough,
used to do the
I knew a
same.
guy who shoot World Cup 28 gram 8s. You shoot partridge with them, early season partridge. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I bet.
This thing absolutely tore them apart. It was brilliant.
So what's the master plan for Just Cartridges, Charlie?
Oh, we got a few things in the pipeline,
Have
but the technology is definitely how you keep abreast and ahead.
Yeah.
So that's what we concentrate on.
Have you ever wanted to make your own shells?
No,
Stay out of that.
stay out of that. Reseller.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you haven't, Charlie. I mean, you've obviously thought about it.
We've thought about it, but a lot of it is to do with branding, isn't it? And Game Boy have got the branding right over the years since Paul's been in charge.
Yeah, he has.
And look where they are.
Yeah.
So trying to keep up with a brand like that is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
To go from nothing.
Yeah.
I could name a
It's
couple
funny
that
this
tried, but I
podcast is
better
working
not.
well, isn't it? This is why, Paul, if you're watching, you need to sponsor the podcast. Hey, Rob.
I agree, Paul.
I've had a free cup of coffee.
Yeah, there you go, you see.
I'm looking for a free lunch after.
Absolutely, mate.
Oh, Sam's very good at giving people free lunches here. Yeah, put it on my tab, says Sam.
And then me and Charlie get in the car and head up the M6.
Yeah, exactly that.
Not this
Have to
year.
stop for a nap with that full.
And have you ever thought about? I mean, you're delivering cartridges, and it's brilliant. You are cartridges. It's clearly what it says in the name. Have you ever thought about delivering other products as well to the shooting community? Have they ever said, "God, I wish you could deliver other things as well," or is that not?
We could do that. So that would sort of help on the transport side. So we could do that. But we're looking at a few other things at the moment. I'll tell you
secret?
what. No, well, not top secret actually. Have you come across Fortis coats?
Yes.
Fortis coats, absolutely brilliant. So I had a couple of friends were shooting with Andy Castle actually at Hartside last year. Filthy day, absolutely filthy. All with their posh shuffle 800 quid coats on. All got soaked apart from this one lad who had a Fortis coat. And
He's a great lad as well, Ollie.
is it Ollie?
He's a really nice lad. Yeah.
Okay.
He has Massey Birch as well. The
Yeah,
guy who
yeah,
has
yeah,
40 says Massey Birch.
So I went down to see Oliver and said, "Oh, I've heard about your coats." He said, "Oh, try one." I said, "Well, I'm going stalking next week in Scotland. Can I take it?" He said, "Oh, well, this one's been hanging around for 4 years." He said, "It's a bit shop saw and stuff." I said, "Oh, don't worry about that." So anyway, I wore this coat. It wasn't particularly pleasant weather, and it was absolutely fantastic. The one thing a shooting coat has got to do is keep you dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all it's
Yeah.
got to do. It hasn't got to
couldn't
keep you
agree more.
warm or
And I
anything
will
else like
say-
that.
Or look cool.
The whole
All
thing.
look cool.
It doesn't matter.
Needs to keep you dry.
Yeah.
And this,
Yeah.
I've still got that coat, and now we're selling
The
them.
thing you said about shuffles as well, I got one 2 seasons ago,
Yeah.
and in December we were shooting at Brigham's, stinking day, horrible, pissing with rain, and by lunchtime my collar, tie, back of my neck was completely piss wet through. And you spend 600 quid on these
Plus.
I know.
jackets.
I find it quite interesting, you know, that because
He wears a
we designed a
No, he doesn't actually. You wear sister. What's that jacket you have? The
Sasta.
Sasta.
That's Sasta. You know the one. We designed a Sasta jacket. Edwin and I did with them. This waterproof. It's called the Austin, and they made it for us. It's absolutely brilliant. But you know, but it's not going to look the coolest thing in the world. You wouldn't wear
You
it.
don't need to look
But I'll
cool.
tell you
No,
what,
you
it's
look like you
waterproof.
got extra needs on.
How much is it, Rob?
It's waterproof. That needs to
How
be
much is
edited
it,
out,
Rob?
you know.
Sorry,
Pardon?
sorry.
How much is it, Rob?
£425.
All right, good value then.
It is. I'll show you it afterwards. People have them, love them. I mean, literally, we've got people who buy 2 of them. I have 2 of them in the back of the car. But we've
One for
thought,
the morning, one for the afternoon.
yeah, we've thought about it. You know, it's got neoprene things so it doesn't
Yeah.
go run down your arms.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there's plenty of room in the arms. You know, you still make mistakes with it, but it is a good jacket.
Yeah,
I'll give
yeah.
you that. But
So
that,
go on. What's the story with Fortis then? If you go.
I just love the product, so we decided we'd sell it. Yeah.
Oh right, so you're going to sell it online?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Online now.
yeah.
Oh, right.
And they're
I've
boots.
not seen you
So
advertise that.
he's getting some boots made in Italy, and they are fantastic as well. Really comfy. You can put them on. No blisters from the first time you wear them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good for you. All excited.
they
But your
selling
son, am I right in saying your son is very heavily involved with the business?
One of my sons
Yeah.
is, and my daughter's
Nice.
fiance is also.
So it's a real
Josh,
family business now.
Real family business.
I love it.
Makes my life easy.
Well, good for you. Does this mean you've semi-retired, Charlie? or-
I wouldn't say semi-retired, but taking it a little bit easier. Let's put it
He's
like
looking tanned anyway. Where have you been?
that. Nowhere, just here.
Have you?
Waiting,
have-
Sam,
Oxford.
waiting for us in the
I have
sunshine.
not been away for months and months and months.
Sam,
Right.
think about what you've
it's
just said.
It's the little sunshine we've had
It's-
over the last week.
It's the 14th of August, right?
Middle of summer.
It's the 14th of August. He doesn't go anywhere now, waiting for the phone to ring to say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Bull. Would you like to come and shoot grouse?" Yes, thank you very much. Up the motorway.
Yeah, very
You're not
true.
getting out enough.
No, true. Sat behind a desk like you were back in the day.
There's not as much sun in Preston as there
There
is.
isn't, to
isn't
be
it?
fair, mate. No, there isn't. That's why I'm going to Mallorca next week.
Yeah, I love it.
So go on, coats are on the website. Can you shed light on the next project or not?
We have got another project in the tubes, but I can't really say anything right at this moment.
Very good.
Sorry about that.
No, you're right.
Mate, you're fine.
And
You're absolutely fine.
who's your biggest customer at Just Cartridges then?
Well, you were up there.
Yes.
Not quite.
Set
but
up.
you're not-
That was set
Not
up. That was,
quite.
wasn't it? Not quite.
Not quite. So you've
Who's
got to
beating
must try harder.
Who's beat me now?
There are some shooting estates which
Oh.
use more than you do.
Fair enough. I'll take the.
I tell you
I'll
what,
take
you'd
the-
want to supply Peter Wilson when he was shooting.
Yeah.
He was just saying to us, shot 80 to 100,000 cartridges a year.
That is a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and he said
That is
Sheikh
a lot.
Mohammed,
Yeah.
Al Maktoum, when he 250,000 a year
Mm.
when he was shooting.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Can you
Those are the
imagine?
kind of customers we need.
Can you
Exactly.
imagine shooting that amount of?
I cannot. I cannot.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it? I know they're not heavy loads, but they're still, still pretty punchy, aren't they? Because they're wound
mate.
up to
It'll
anything.
give you a battering
It would
firing
give you a
that many in a
battering,
year.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
You would need a
Christ.
physio then, Rob.
Yeah, you would. You bloody would.
You go and see one, don't you?
I have hurt my back. My back gives me such pain, and I'm sat here. But trying to get a physio appointment in August is impossible because they seem to all be on holiday. So I managed to
Indeed.
get one today, which is why I literally have to leave in a few minutes' time because the only slot I could get was 1:30 today, and it's 20 minutes away. So yeah, I know. So I feel really
Have
bad.
you got much shooting book then, Charlie, for the season?
Not now.
No, apart from ground.
No, I'll tell you what I really love is I like a driven day just like everybody else, but I like wild game and I like these little sort of walked up species days, I call them. So just me and a handful of mates and we'll go off and do that. Really good place we go is Raby, you'll have been there.
Yeah.
Andrew with the
Yeah.
10-foot tall keeper. And he loves taking us out and we'll shoot. Well, we won't shoot any grouse this year, I don't think. But he'll do woodcock,
Snipe.
yeah, all
Amazing.
that kind of stuff. Wild pheasants, wild partridge, English partridge,
Teal,
all that
widgeon.
kind of stuff. All that,
Yeah.
yeah. No, so I love going there. We get up to Scotland a couple of times a year, doing that sort of stuff. That is, I like that kind of shooting.
You've
It's
earned
never going
it
to
as
make me
well.
rich, is it? But I need those big driven shoots.
I know, yeah. Yeah, shooting 10 cartridges a day.
Does that worry you, Charlie? You think it may be the future of driven shooting and the bag size and things like that? Because ultimately, the big bags, they need a lot of cartridges. Does that?
They need a lot of cartridges, and they pay our wages. It's not for me, but I have no issue with people who want to go and shoot,
No.
200, 300, 400 birds.
No.
As long as those birds are getting used somewhere, I'm absolutely fine with it. Obviously, if they're getting put in a hole, I'm not fine with it. But if those birds are getting used, it doesn't matter. It's not what I want to do particularly, but if that's what people enjoy, then fine. It's our business. I don't have a problem with it.
No, I don't. I don't at all.
I don't. And I can't see it changing anytime
Can you
soon.
not?
Well,
I mean,
touch a bit of wood.
people refer to sort of Edwardian times as the golden age of shooting, but particularly me, to a certain extent to you as well. Perhaps not you, being your age, only a wee slip of a lad. We have lived through the golden age of shooting.
Yeah,
In
possibly.
terms of accessibility
that's the
for
key,
anybody, really.
because let shooting wasn't a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
40 years ago,
You needed a rich mate
You
or
needed a very
a
and it
duke
was
as a brother
the
or-
gentry and aristocrats and estate owners and everything else. But now, if you've made good money, hey, I knew a guy. He's done really well. He was shooting grouse 2 days ago on
Yeah.
probably the only place. He took his friends. I knew most
Yeah, but
of
then I
them.
suppose then 10,
You know-
10, 15, 20 years ago, those grouse were half the price they are now.
That is,
Yeah.
but this year illustrates why it's so expensive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen every year.
And that's what makes you want to do it even more. Charlie and I
It
are
does.
avid grouse shots, so we love it a lot. Okay, we would do anything. I mean, literally, I bet you Charlie would say the same. If somebody
I would.
rang now and said, I'm in Inverness and there's 2 guns spare, you know what I mean?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Charlie, I'd be like this, right? Nice to see you, lads.
Yeah, I would be straight on.
I would
It's
literally
the
drive up
wild.
there for
I
it.
like wild game.
Yeah.
That's what I really love.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
wild bird shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been up with winners on the moors with Churchills, actually,
Yeah.
and it is special.
It was-
It
that
is
was
very
And
special.
before
Very
then, I'd
special.
never experienced
No.
it, but when
A lot
you
of
get
people
up there,
don't get it.
No, I know.
A lot of
And
people-
beautiful scenery as well.
Yeah.
It's my sort of thing. I mean, to be honest, if you're being absolutely ruthless, you could say, well, I can shoot pheasants and partridges in Sussex or Yorkshire or Scotland or Wales or wherever, couldn't you?
Yeah,
You can't shoot grouse or whatever you want to go and shoot wild game anywhere.
literally. Yeah.
So,
and
that's
only
the
in this
attraction.
country. Like it
Only
is.
in this country.
Not this year.
I'm really sorry, guys, but I have to go.
I know.
This is terrible, isn't it? I'm sorry.
Me and Charlie carry on without you,
You
sir.
can just carry on without me. Is that all right?
quite
Charlie,
Fine. You go and get
good
your
to
back
see you.
fixed.
I'm going to go and sort my back
I quite
out.
look forward to this, actually. We can talk about Rob's woes.
Feel free to cut it all out, Charlie.
See you, mate.
You be careful with that back.
I will look. I'm doing so well for a young lad. Everyone.
See you, Rob.
Uh,
Do you want to move the camera to me and Charlie? Right, it's just me now.
And me.
Tweedlers and Charlie. Rob's had to go. He's done his little back, bless him. And so, yeah, privileged to be without Rob. I might actually get a word in edgeways now, which has been a lot of comments recently at the game fair that I don't get to speak a lot. So anyway, here we are, just me and Charlie Bull, the owner of Just Cartridges, back in the room.
Back in the room.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Grouse.
Grouse we were talking about, but we can move on now if you wish.
We can move on. What should we talk about? There's loads of things I would like to talk to you about. I just can't. Well, we had an excellent day at Wards Priory last season, which was the first time I'd shot
We
with
did.
it. And going back to steel, actually, that was the first time I'd shot steel
Me
on
too.
driven game.
Me too.
It was interesting, mate.
It was very interesting. So I'd never used it on a full day before.
No.
And we were drawing pegs in the morning, and I drew between Dave Carey on my left, Simon Ward on my right, and I was thinking, oh, Christ.
I was in between Mark Windsor and you, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
You
We
can't
had
have
our
been
work
between
cut
me,
out, didn't we?
because I had Rachel, not Rachel
Oh, sorry,
Carey,
yeah, you had
Dave
Simon.
Carey on my left,
Yeah.
Simon Ward on
I
my
can't
right.
remember who was on my
Anyway, the first drive, Windsor was on the end. Do you remember? On the
Yes, I
left-hand
do.
end, you must have been next to him, perhaps. And I struggled a bit that first drive. I couldn't work it out. I thought, what's going on here? Anyway, the next drive, absolutely fine. I sort of got into a bit. Maybe I was overthinking it. I don't know. Even managed to wipe Dave's eye a couple of times, but he was very gentle with me and said, "Oh, well done, sir." And in his Yorkshire accent.
I even managed to do that to Mark as well.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
He
can
won't
shoot.
remember it, but
He can shoot.
he can shoot. But yeah, there was a couple of the partridge. It was September, wasn't it? I think.
It was late September.
And you just sort of, you thought I was on that bird, and but they just kept going. And
That's the problem.
by
so
the
how did you
second
get
or
on?
third drive, I wasn't giving them enough. I don't
No.
think.
Okay.
But whereas a lead I think would have brought them down, it probably didn't. But listen,
I thought it killed them in a different way,
yeah,
but I couldn't be sure about that.
yeah, I agree. Actually, they sort of. It sounds a bit gruesome, but they came down a
It
little
does,
bit
yeah.
differently, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
And that, to be fair, I've never actually shot steel on a full day since.
Neither have I.
Yeah,
But I am going on a day this year where I'll have to use steel, so that'll be good.
very nice.
That's a little wild walked up day again.
Ah, yeah.
So we'll see how we get on.
And have you got any big days booked in or invites? Are you just waiting for the phone to ring? Or
Waiting for the phone to ring, as always.
is Paul doing the game boy day again? I've not heard.
I don't think so,
No.
but I haven't had the call yet.
We'll have to
Maybe
create
if
our
somebody
own.
drops out, I will.
You'll have to take us all on one, Charlie.
Okay. Sam, how did you start Tweedle?
How did I start Tweedle? It was nearly 4 years ago now, Charlie, in November, and which is crazy. And I was just thinking about this on the way down, actually, how for a while I didn't actually use you guys for cartridges. And I was thinking, who did we use? And then look back, we did a 20,000 black gold cartridge with Game Boy,
Went straight to Paul then.
straight to Paul. And then after a while, I was like, this is a nightmare because I can't go to my local gun dealer and do 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 cartridges because they're going to struggle to deliver it because they don't have the facilities that you've got set up. And then, yeah, I think I just rang up. Spoke to Josh, I
think you
think. I
spoke
never
to
spoke
Josh,
to you
yeah.
for ages.
No.
But
they go well, your cartridge.
yeah, they
cartridge
go really
prizes,
well.
don't
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, after you've bought a gun, certainly to a clay shooter, what's the most expensive part of shooting?
Mm.
And it's cartridges. And that's why when you said earlier about 60-70% game shooters, the people that enter our cartridge competitions are more clay shooters.
Right.
And
Okay.
you'll see that on the Tweedle orders, the cartridge orders that we've done with
yeah.
you, because Josh always sends me through what the winners ordered, and it's more than likely clay cartridges.
stuff.
And
Yeah,
it always
yeah.
surprises me that, because I always thought my customers more game cartridges as well, but
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
And you've probably been asked this countless times. Where has the name Tweedle come from?
yeah, it's a good question, and I think I should get a better answer
Who's
for
interviewing you here?
it. I know. I should have a better answer for it, but tweed, obviously, we wear
Yeah.
when we shoot, and Tweedle is just, obviously, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, but it's a gimmicky one-word brand name that you're never going to forget. That was
Okay.
the whole idea behind it. And I wanted something that I could create a brand out of, so now we have created a brand out of it. I could now go into anything. Tweedle clothing, Tweedle
Yeah.
guns, whatever it may be, Tweedle sporting. And yeah, I could have called it shootingcompetitions.com, but I don't. That's
Bit of a mouthful.
yeah, that's essentially what we are. But I don't know. You have to build a brand, so there's no real. I wrote down. I've still got a piece of paper actually. I wrote down 1 million names to do with shooting and put a L or a E on the end, and
Tweedle came out
was
on
the one
top.
that came out on top. And touch wood, it's people know about it now.
They do. They certainly do, yeah.
But yeah, how many? Do you have any idea how many cartridges we've done through you? Because I think I asked you this time last year, but it'll be getting up to 300,000.
Yes, so I think it's probably around about 70,000 a year. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, possibly.
Something like that? 70 or 80,000 a year?
Yeah,
It's,
we've
it's a
actually-
deal.
it is a good deal. And actually, well, why not do this? There's a competition on right now as you're watching this podcast for 5,000 cartridges of your choice from Just Cartridges. Save 10% on your tickets using code TweedlePod right now. Charlie will put a link underneath this video. Go and buy some tickets.
We'll send them.
Yeah, you'll send them. That's something that I've always been impressed with you guys is how quickly, from me, I email the winner and CC Josh. Josh sorts it, and then I always ask the winner for a picture of them with the cartridges. And it's like 2-3 days.
We keep a lot of stock.
Maximum, the bloke sends me a picture of him with his cartridges, and I'm like, flipping heck. And he could be anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
That must take some organising, mate. And have you ever got any orders wrong where someone's ordered a 32 gram 6 and he gets a 32 gram 5?
Obviously, where humans are involved, you're going to get it wrong occasionally. But one of the things with us is that we do make mistakes. That's quite true, but they are incredibly rare.
Yeah.
So we might send, 30,000 orders a year. We'll make a mistake on less than a dozen.
Yeah. It's not terrible, is it?
But when we do, the customer's on the phone. As soon as they turn up, we swap them out immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, mistakes obviously do happen, but we'll always sort it out very quickly.
And I think, like, I've got people that are always pessimistic about what we do and, is it legit? You guys probably have, because I've heard people ask this, to go into a gun shop and buy a slab of cartridges, you need your shotgun certificate. How does that work with you?
We have a very complicated database and some quite complicated software, which is way beyond me, but that's basically how it works. Completely different for Section 1 stuff, rifle ammo, metallic, that kind of stuff. That has to be a face-to-face transaction. Shotgun cartridges, it doesn't.
Right.
It's a different class. Yeah.
Because I have actually heard that as well. I can't remember who from. It was a few years ago, but legally you don't actually have to have your license with you when you buy cartridges in a shop. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they ask to cover the arses.
So basically, there is no requirement on the dealer or the shopkeeper to keep a record of any transaction. They've just got to see it, and you give it back to them. They don't have to keep the details of your name or the certificate number or the expiry date or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whereas our system, we do that automatically. So if you ask me to produce a transaction we did back in, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we can do that.
Yeah.
So our records, if the police ever want to have a look, and they do occasionally, we can produce every single transaction we've ever done, however long ago.
And have they ever got involved with you?
We get inquiries from the police if there's been an offence or criminal activity or whatever. They will ring us up and say, have you sold cartridges to this chap or whatever, and when, how did he pay, all that kind of stuff. We can do all that.
Yeah. You have to, don't you?
You do. Whereas, a normal gun shop doesn't have to. When you go to shoot around here and you go into Rob and get some cartridges from him, he doesn't have to keep a record of that. I mean, obviously he does for the Inland Revenue, but he doesn't from a legal point of view.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. I've never thought about that.
Which is stupid, really.
Yeah.
Because why is the law there?
Yeah. And why do you have to do it if he doesn't?
Exactly. Well, we do it out of choice.
Yeah, but also it's
Just
a lot
belt and
easier because
braces.
it's all online, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talk about marketing and about being online and how important that is. Have you ever thought about getting an app?
We had an app. So years ago, we actually built an app, and it had all sorts of fancy stuff on it. I can't even remember now. It's so long ago. Like, how many pellets you get in an ounce of number 6 shot or whatever. We had the app also was linked to the CPSA for registered shoots, so you could keep your scores on that, and it would tell you immediately where you were, in the CPSA rankings and that kind of stuff. The one thing we couldn't do at that point was allow people to place orders. So an app, is it a good idea? Yes, it probably is, but we would have to do a fair bit of work to make that work these days. But we were the first people to have a shooting app years and years and years and years ago.
I looked into it, and it's just astronomical money.
It is.
Compared to a website.
Yeah.
And it probably is the way to go, but then again, I don't like having too many apps on my phone.
I mean,
And it
Neither
works.
do I. But the thing is, you know, if you've got access to the internet with your phone, you can do it all on your phone anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what having an app brings to the
It's
party.
really good for notifications.
Okay.
And
I don't know
alerts.
about stuff like that.
Yeah. So if I put a new competition on, I could send an alert to someone's phone through an app
Okay.
to say 5,000 cartridges has just
Yeah.
gone live.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. But yeah,
Okay.
I think
All right.
last time we got a quote, it was over 20 grand anyway.
Yeah. No, it would
That
be,
was about
it-
4 years
it would be
ago.
expensive.
Right, perfect. That concludes another episode of the Tweedle podcast. Thanks for coming on, mate.
You're welcome. Nice to see you.
And you, buddy. Good luck, everybody. And we'll see you live, not live, but we'll see you next Sunday at 1 p.m. for our next episode of the Tweedle podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Charlie's going to put it on Apple Podcasts next week. Thanks, everybody. See you later.